I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, November the 20th, brought to you in part by Superior Steel Sales there on I-44 close to Carthage, Missouri. They are home of your Superior Standard line of equipment there, and I tell you what, it would be just what you would want to build for yourself. You can still move it around, but it's heavy. It's not that thin ply stuff that bends up every time you try to use it. This is heavy stuff you can put up permanent, or heavy stuff you can add to your existing corrals. They've got a whole line of stuff: feeders, gates, tell you what, loading chutes, crowding tubs, cattle guards, panels. It's just everything you might want to need. That you got to get on there to their website and take a look at them. They do have dealers all over the country. You don't have to be in Southwest Missouri to do it. You can check out the dealers all over, or you can order raw pipe and steel from Superior Steel Sales. Now, if you guys are in the business of selling equipment and things like that, and you don't see a dot near your location, get a hold of them at Superior Steel Sales and see if you can set up a dealership for you. For more information, go to superiorsteelsales.com. Monster carcass weights, and you know, the board crashed. Well, I guess we can't call it a crash because it wasn't limit down. We've gotten pretty used to limit downs. It wasn't limit down, but it was down pretty hard on Wednesday. And we can't blame it on President Trump. We can't blame it on Secretary Rollins. We can't blame it on the media or anything else. And you Northern Plains and Midwestern cattle feeders can just look right in the mirror and blame yourself, because we got the delayed information on actual slaughter back. That was one of the few things that was not coming out due to the government shutdown, as we weren't getting actual slaughter information. It came out there on Tuesday late, and it was an eye-opener. It showed that our actual dressed steer carcass is 983 pounds. Wow. And you know, and it's the biggest ever by far. But you know, we see how we got there. You guys taking these cattle to 1,600 and 1,800 pounds. 1,600 pounds is about a 1,008 pound carcass dressed. An 1,800 pounder is 1,134 pounds dressed. So you know, you can see how we would have 983 pound average dressed steer carcass weight. That is 25 pounds bigger than the same time a year ago. That is 56 pounds bigger than the same time 2 years ago. It's even 59 pounds bigger than 2020, when we were coming out of the COVID and all those cattle had got backed up and we had these monster cattle that nobody had ever seen before. It's 59 pounds bigger than that, guys. And it's huge. And I have to give credit to Shaylee Stewart. Her and I have been friends a long time. She's a young lady she's a market analyst. I believe she's working for DTN and Progressive Farmer right now. But she showed interest in this early, and I met her several years ago. I'm proud of her. She's doing a good job. She had a nice article about this. I stole all this stuff from her. I'm probably going to steal more from her in the future because she's getting better all the time. But you guys need to be watching out for her. But I tell you what, a 25 pound carcass increase over a year's time equates to about 1 million head of cattle more than we've had. Now, if our Mexico borders were open and they were sending cattle normal from Mexico and Canada into this country, that adds up to an average of about 1.2 million. So that's how many more. So suddenly we don't have a shortage of beef, I guess. You know, maybe we can look to somebody else if beef is really high. There's no wonder that your packers are not killing very many each week. They don't have to. There's so much meat on each one that they slaughter, they don't have to slaughter very many of them. But that is very bearish. I tell you what, our cash-fed cattle market took a dive on Wednesday there, and they've already sold, they've already established the market, and it's a lot lower. But it's that's kind of a tough thing to get yourselves into. Those same cattle here that are weighing so much on the market because of their carcass weights, you could have easily sold those cattle for $240 plus back when the market was there, and they would have made a ton of money. And you just kept shoveling it to them. I understand feedlot replacements are really high, and you know, and they're hard to get bought. But you know, you can't just keep shoveling the feed to those cattle until they get so huge. And you know, we saw a lot of big cattle show up at your Midwestern fat cattle auctions this week, and man, they were giving them a penalty there. But it doesn't seem that long ago that 900 and 950 weight carcasses were being heavily discounted. Now they average 983 for steers, guys. That's impossible. But I tell you what, something to look forward to here, January the 1st. USDA has passed that rule, and it's going to be enacted. They're closing the loophole on product of the USA, where it only has to be in the country over 24 hours, and they just mix it with some other product and then pump it back up as product of the USA. And that's what we've all been harping on here for a long time. It's more truth in labeling. But now, to put product of the USA on your beef package, the cattle have to be born, raised, fed, slaughtered, and processed in the USA after January 1. But the stickler is, it's not a rule, it's only voluntary. So it's not a rule that you have to put it on there. So none of the big four are going to pay any attention to it. But for you regional packers, small packers, those that are doing something in a hometown area or maybe a little bit greater than that, I think you definitely need to take advantage of this. Put product of USA and red, white, and blue all over the package there. And give people an option there, because the big packers aren't going to be able to do it. They're not going to pay any attention to that. It's not cool. You know, everybody's been wanting mandatory country of origin labeling. We don't have it. This administration acts kind of friendly to it, but they haven't decided they want to do anything mandatory yet. But this is on a voluntary basis. But I would love to see if maybe just one aspect of the beef from a major packer, they would start putting that on, and then we'll see whether it makes a difference or not. But I really doubt they pay any attention to it. They're not going to say anything about it. They're just not going to put anything on it, and you can assume that all of the product that they're putting out indeed has product from some country that you just soon not have any beef from. Got a cattle on feed report coming out on Friday. Got a little more updated cattle on feed estimates on Wednesday. The November 1st on feed inventories are estimated to be 97.7% of a year ago. Placements in October, 91.6%. That's pretty aggressive. Marketings in October, 92.3%. So we'll be watching for that. Sale you need to be looking for coming up on Saturday at the Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. That's west central Missouri, just south and east of Kansas City a little ways. They're having a special cow and bull sale in conjunction with their Show Me Select replacement heifer sale. That Show Me Select program works with the University of Missouri and Federal State Market News. I did that for many years, went around and screened those heifers to make sure the quality of them was good enough after they had already been pelvic measured and gone through minimum requirements on almost everything. It's really good for small producers, especially those that don't know really what they want to get into, but they don't want to get in a bind. But they're going to have about 200 head of Show Me Select heifers there that have graduated through the program, have jumped through all the hoops. That's Saturday, November 22nd at Kingsville, starting at 11 a.m. And then while the crowd's there, let's don't waste that crowd. They got a nice offering of bulls to sell, replacement bulls, and then a big offering of bred cows, cow-calf pairs, be running ages, a lot of them young there. There's several dispersals in the mix. They've got a couple of nice consignments of reputation quality open heifers. So check out that sale. Be on DVAuction.com if you can't get to Kingsville, Missouri. Let's talk about your board on Wednesday. December live cattle futures were down 372 at 216.30. February down 360 at 217.25. Your back months on live cattle down 145 to down 352. November feeder cattle are actually up 107 at 341.85. January was down 460 at 321.45, and that kind of surprised me that there's a $20 or a little more gap between November feeder cattle and January feeder cattle. The feeder cattle that are going to be selling in January are going to be from the Midwest, mostly top genetics, and they're going to be long time weaned. They're from those diversified producers. They didn't wean those cattle until they got done with harvest. As soon as they got done with harvest, they weaned those cattle. They'll be 45 days or more weaned, maybe 60 or 90 days even in some cases weaned. The condition and quality will be outstanding, and they'll bring big bucks, guys. And they've got it at a $20, more than $20 discount to what the November feeder cattle are. Your back months on feeder cattle down 415 to down 502. Look at your grains. December corn down 7 cents a bushel at 429.75. January beans down 17.25 at 1136.25. Hard red winter wheat for March down 11.25 at 531.75 cents a bushel. Let's talk about your negotiated fed cattle trade out of your 5-area feeding region. That didn't take long for them to get the notice, and they started accepting lower bids right away, guys. And Iowa sold 5,100 on Wednesday. They've sold 6,000 for the week already. Live prices in Iowa sold negotiated from $215 to $218. Ouch. Dress sales from $340 to $347. Nebraska sold 11,500 head on Wednesday from $215 to $219 and $338 to $347. Kansas sold 1,600 head on Wednesday from $222 to $224. Mostly $224. That $224 is $4 lower, and it's more lower up in the northern plains, guys. Texas sold 1,050 head at $224. Fat cattle auctions that we saw on Wednesday were no better. Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota had 1,650 head of slaughter cattle for their brick and mortar auction. Steers sold $13 to $15 lower. Heifers were $10 to $11 lower. Had a nice offering there. The conventional fed cattle sell from $207 to $212.25. They had 250 head that weighed 1,600 to 1,715. The program cattle non-implanted or drug-free sell from $208 to $217. Up at Glacial Lakes Livestock in Watertown, South Dakota, their fed cattle were $10 to $14 lower. Conventional cattle selling from $2 to $210, and program cattle from $206 to $212. Big fat fed cows $175 to $184. Remember those packers, how tough they can be in the negotiations? Starting to trip your memory a little bit. They haven't had the wherewithal or the ability to do that. I tell you what, they get aggressive. They don't feel bad about it, guys. They'll shoot your foot off. Beef, box beef cutout values were lower on Wednesday. Choice cuts down 72 cents at $371.23. Selects down $1.40 at $350, $355. Your slaughter, estimated cattle slaughter for up through Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 357,000 at 6,000 more than last week at this point, 25,000 less than the same point a year ago. You know, we've been saying, you know, all these things that's been bothering the market. We said, well, we didn't run into a bunch more cattle. Well, we ran into a bunch more weight, which equals a bunch more cattle, and that's where we're getting fundamental bearishness now, guys. Talking about what else is going on. Valley Grande Ranch feeders. That's the Archibald brothers up there in northern South Dakota. They've got a few pens left. They still want your unweaned balling calves. Send them to them. They'll get them straightened out. They'll get them on feed. They'll get them going and start putting weight on them for you. And it's reasonable, guys. They've got outstanding facilities. They know how to do it. They've got a system there. Let them do that for your cattle. If you got weaned cattle or weaned calves or yearlings you want to send to them, they'll sure take those too. And they'll take thin cows if you want to add some value and weight to those by putting them in the yard for a while. Get a hold of them at archbro, archbro.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. I tell you what, from the front door, if you've got a sale barn, from the front door of the sale barn to the loadout chute, they can handle all the insurance needs for you, turnkey, everything. And you won't believe the savings that you'll get. You got to at least call and get a quote, guys. But your real-time index from DVAuction, late in the day on Wednesday after your sales had all concluded, sitting at 338.06. 7-day moving average, it was down 203 compared to late Tuesday there. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index is sitting at 340.02, so it's right in there tight. Some sales here late in the week you might want to take a look at. Intermountain Livestock Exchange in La Grande, Oregon is having a big special here today on Thursday. 2,500 head of feeders and calves. Quality will be outstanding. They're on DVAuction.com. Tune in and check their sale out. Stockman's Livestock Exchange in Dickinson, North Dakota. They're having a big calf special. They're about to run out of those. They've been selling those calves right along. Weather's been perfect, so they're a little bit ahead of schedule selling those calves. But they do have 4,500 head of local calves there for the calf special all breed sale. And then later in the week, I'm headed out to Fallon, Nevada. Jack Payne at Nevada Livestock Marketing's got a big special on Friday, so check them out, guys. Let's talk about your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno Livestock Market in El Reno, Oklahoma. For their 2-day sale, calves on Tuesday, feeders on Wednesday, they had 7,650 head of cattle. The calves on Tuesday sold unevenly steady, which things were a lot different on Tuesday than they were Wednesday. Feeder steers on Wednesday, $4 to $14 lower. Feeder heifers, $3 to $13 lower. Look at this automated mark report through Cattle Market Central, and OKC West was your Superior Steel Sales stick-out sale of the day. They had 3,500 on Wednesday, so it was roughly about half of their offering in a total. But this is a new markets, guys. Check out these best tested weights. 391 head of 7-weight steers in El Reno, average 748 at 329.93. 1,019 head of 8-weight steers, averaged 860 at 309.33. 517 head of the 9-weight steers, OKC West, averaged 935 with a weighted average price of 301.07. Look at some heifers. 239 head of the 6-weight heifers, averaged 671 at 308.88. 444 head of the 7-weight heifers, averaged 746 at 306.15. And 536 head of the 8-weight feeder heifers at OKC West, DV Auction broadcaster, averaged 837 with a weighted average price of 288.46. The most impressive quote that I saw come out of El Reno on Wednesday was 58 steers that weighed 830, right condition and kind, bring 338. Give you several individual quotes that I thought were impressive from around the circuit. How about Torrington livestock markets? Now I've added DVAuction broadcasting to their sales. They had 226 steer calves weighed 584 pounds at 447. That's a top quote, guys. How about Hub City Livestock Market there in Aberdeen, South Dakota? Longtime DVAuction broadcaster. 81 head weighed 673 at 403. That's a big quote, guys. How about going up north from there? How about Kist Livestock Auction in Mandan, North Dakota? Also a DVAuction broadcaster. 64 steers weighed 691 at 392.50. That's awfully impressive. Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota for their Wednesday feeder cattle auction. They're a DVAuction broadcaster as well. 56 steers weighed 1,064 pounds. That's getting up there nearly 1,100 pounds at 317 and a quarter. Whoa. How about Bloomfield Livestock Market in Bloomfield, Iowa? They are a DVAuction broadcaster, the Schooley family. Roman wasn't real impressed with the sale while it was going on. And then when he got done, he looked around, he said, heck, we had a pretty good sale. And yeah, they had a good sale. How about 62 steers weighed 867 and bring 344.50. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Bassett Livestock Auction in Bassett, Nebraska, another DVAuction broadcaster. They sold 419 head in one swath, weighed 765 and bring 378.50. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.